You're watching the RebZone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Right now in the RebZone.
It's the team. Everybody has a responsibility to help carry the load.
The team did just that as UNLV goes into previously conference unbeaten Fresno and makes a statement. Head coach Tony Sanchez is in studio to break down a big road win. Plus, a look ahead to Saturday's home game with Hawai'i. And we feature a father and daughter bonding through Rebel football from the inside. We know you took a bath before bedtime. Let's settle in for 30 minutes of happy time in the RebZone.
Smiles, everyone, smiles.
This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Good evening. Welcome inside the RebZone. Kevin Bolinger alongside UNLV head football coach Tony Sanchez, coming off a massive road win where not only did you win, but you went into Fresno and you dominated in all three phases.
Yeah, you know, I'm really happy for my guys. I mean, they've done a great job of staying the course, continuing to work, and gone out and played a bunch of really good first halves the last bunch of weeks. But we were able to finish. And I'll tell you what, they needed something good to happen. And they went out and played 4 quarters of good football. Johnny Stanton stepped up and, you know, in a real pivotal role. Gutierrez came in, drilled 4 field goals as a backup kicker. I mean, that's just tremendous right there. Defensively, you know, they blocked out all the noise and chatter and went out there and played against a hot offense and did a really good job, especially shutting them out in the second half.
Let's start looking at this one. Lots of good stuff to check out, and we're going to begin with the first half, where, as we said, UNLV set the tone that they would be sound in all 3 phases.
Everybody has a responsibility to help carry the load. One play at a time. Everything you got, that one play at a time. And we're going to love the results. Do not leave anything in the tank. We're coming on with a freaking victory. Let's go. Carry the load together. Tonight we get it done together.
UNLV ready to roll against a resurgent Fresno State squad. The Bulldogs had the ball first and drove down the field. On 2nd and goal at the 3, the inside handoff to Jordan Mims for the touchdown. The point after was no good, and it was 6-0. Johnny Stanton got the starter quarterback for the injured Armani Rogers, and he was solid from the get-go. First play from scrimmage, Stanton hits Devontae Boyd for 9, and the offense settled in, working their way into the red zone. Rebels go for it on 4th and inches at the 16, but they're called for a false start and have to settle for a Daniel Gutierrez 38-yard field goal. It was 6-3 Fresno 9 minutes in. The Bulldogs have a solid QB in Marcus McMarion. He finds Darian Grimm for the big gain to the Rebel 35. That led to a 33-yard field goal by Jimmy Camacho, and it was 9-3. UNLV's second possession, Stanton hits Kendall Keys for 10. Then the pass to Brandon Presley on 3rd down. That gained 11 and a first at the Fresno 40. 4th and 7 at the 37. Stanton finds Presley again for 8 to move the chains. But the drive would stall, and Gutierrez nailed a 28-yard field goal to cut the deficit to 9-6. The Rebel defense came up with a good series as Jameer Outsey gets the sack on McMarion, and UNLV got the ball back. UNLV had a 3rd and 11 at the Fresno 34. Stanton to Keys, who takes a hit and holds on for the first down. The Rebels eventually had a 1st and goal at the 2, but they couldn't pound it in. Stanton got rocked and fumbled, but UNLV recovered. And just before the half, Gutierrez nailed a 23-yard field goal. The Rebels outgained Fresno 180-148, and they headed into the locker room with some mojo, all tied up at 9. So Johnny Stanton gets the start, and it was clear right away that he had command of this offense. The pacing was really good all night. What were your thoughts on Johnny's performance?
Well, you know, Johnny's similar, but he's got some differences in Armani. And, you know, one of the things we wanted to do is get him comfortable throwing the ball, want to get the ball into Boyd's hands, you know, early, you know, after that last game. And he just had you know, he's an older guy. He's been around. He's taken a lot of snaps before, you know, before he got to us and since he's gotten to us. And he's a confident kid. And he went out and played like it. And really took command of that offense and did a tremendous job of moving the ball up and down the field. Like to execute the red zone a little bit better, but they're a stingy defense, and they showed it. Yeah, it was the one negative, I think, out of there was the 3 field goals in the red zone. You got to get into the end zone. We've talked about this time and time again.
And you guys have done a good job of late of doing that, but it kind of crept up there in the first half.
It did. I think going into the game, they were leading the country. They had like 11 quarters in a row without giving up a touchdown giving a touchdown up at all, I guess. And so they've done a good job of that. But we got to execute. We had that 4th and 1 where we had a false start, and on that play, we're sitting in the office and we're going to go watching it, and Lexington's going to break on that, and you just can't get those things back. So got to execute it. We had an option with Johnny down there, and he should have pitched the ball, but again, it's he's getting his feel for it, and we'll execute a little bit better. We'll get better down there, more efficient.
Let's go to the second half now, where the gauntlet had been laid down to finish a game, and the Rebels responded.
UNLV had the ball to start the second half and methodically worked down the field. 4th and 2 at the 37. Lexington Thomas grinds out 4 to move the chains. Thomas had back-to-back 7-yard runs to set up 1st and goal at the 7. On the quarterback draw, Stanton lowers his shoulder and bulldozes his way into the end zone. The Rebels had their first lead at 16-9. Fresno answers, going 89 yards in 14 plays, capped by this touchdown run by Jordan Mims, and we were all tied up again at 16. After UNLV's drive stalled, the Rebels punted for the first time, but Keyshawn Johnson muffs it, and Darren Palmer is there to recover it for UNLV at the Fresno 23. On the first play of the 4th quarter, Thomas bounces outside and he races to the corner of the end zone for the touchdown. The Rebels were back in front, 23-16. With 14:53 left. Both teams exchanged punts, and Fresno had the ball back, but on 3rd and 2 at the Rebel 45, McMarion's pass is batted away. The Bulldogs elect to punt, but the snap sails over the punter's head, and UNLV had it at the Fresno 19. That led to another Gutierrez field goal, and the Rebel lead was 26-16 with 5 minutes left. From there, the defense was locked down and Fresno went nowhere. The celebration was on. Tony Sanchez got a Gatorade bath, and the Rebels picked up a solid win in Fresno, 26-16.
We share the burden and we do it together. And we go hand in hand and we carry that big old son of a gun. You know what? It becomes lighter. And you start to move faster and you start to make progress. You guys did a hell of a job of sharing the burden we're living through today. Hell yeah! And you need to enjoy the hell out of it.
We really turned it on in the second half. I was just saying, we really focused on the second half this week. Past 3 games, we haven't had great second halves, and more so than the second half even, it was really the 4th quarter. And our offensive drives didn't do as much as we would have liked in the 4th quarter, but man, our defense really kicked butt.
We just want to show what type of defense we are and what we're really capable of. We focus on not listening to the outside noise and just focus on us. Everybody know what we could do, and we all, do our job, do everything excellent.
All right, so the defense has taken a lot of heat this season, and they've had some issues, but let's give credit where credit is due. Solid 60 minutes by that unit and shut out in the second half.
Yeah, Coach Bear did a phenomenal job along with the staff of getting those guys dialed in. And, I'm so proud of the kids. I mean, you watch them right there celebrating. They needed that. They needed something good to happen. I'm so happy for them. And, but you got to stay the course, and as we continue to grow this program and, and learn how to finish and, and be more consistent, it's just really good to see those guys not quitting. It'd be easy to throw the towel in, we're not in the situation we want to be in right now. We still have a lot of opportunity in front of us, but for those guys to be able to dial it in, get the game plan set, to play the way they did, again, with all the noise and blocking it out, I think what's happening is the guys are getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and they're learning how to fight.
I should correct myself. Not a shutout in the second half, but only gave up the one touchdown. The opening drive of the second half for UNLV, so critical, not only because you got into the end zone, but you also put Fresno on their heels a little bit there for the final 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was big. I mean, again, one of the things we challenged the whole staff on this week was making sure we have a great plan coming out, really focusing on, really adjusting and continuing to adjust constantly. And, there were some things we hadn't called in the first half, a couple nuances here and there, kind of kept them off kilter, and that was really, really good and really needed. And it was really funny, the messaging this week to get them in the second half was we really talked about the last 10 minutes, and I said, I know we're going to play a good third, we'll kind of make that as a matter of fact, but we talked about the end of the game, the way we finished the game, and I'm proud of the guys for following through with it.
When you talk about closing games out, is that something that an experience like this in Fresno, how beneficial is that moving forward? Do you have to go through the success of closing a game out like that in order to do it more consistently down the road?
Well, you do. I mean, all these things they're opportunities to grow and to learn. I think the defense did a phenomenal job. The one thing we got to get better on is the 4-minute offense. So you get the ball back with 4:01, and you don't want them to get the ball back. So one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight in the teaching process is, you get that 4:01 left on the clock. You need 2 first downs. You pretty much end the game because it's a 2-possession game. Instead, you don't get it. They burned their timeouts. It was fine. We took as much time off the clock as we could. You still have the odds in your favor with 2 possessions, but there's still things you can learn to be a better finisher. And it's easier to teach with a win than it is when you're sitting there, struggling after a loss. So it'll be a good teachable moment tonight.
So do we have a QB situation here now? Johnny Stanton was great. What is Armani Rogers' status? And do you have any idea which direction you might go on Saturday?
Well, first we'll meet with the medical staff later this afternoon when everyone comes in to see how Armani's doing and where he's at. Obviously, he didn't play last night. Don't want to rush it, but we want to make sure that he's healthy when he comes back. Second of all, Johnny played a great game, did some really good things. Armani's had a heck of a year. They're again, similar but different. So we have to do a really good job of the way we handle the situation, and we got to get both guys ready to go against Hawaii.
Well, the win obviously was a great one. It's already, though, time to focus on this Saturday's game, maybe beginning the streak. Straight ahead, a preview of the Hawaii game as UNLV goes for 2 in a row. That's in 2 minutes as the RebZone rolls on.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willie. Your home, your way.
Next up for UNLV, a battle with West Division foe Hawaii.
Saturday afternoon at 3 at Sam Boyd Stadium, Hawaii surfs in for the annual meeting of the Islands and the Ninth Island.
It means something to both sides, because the relationship between Hawaii and Las Vegas that relationship has been strong for a long time.
One thing you can say about this series, it is never boring. 3 of the last 4 years, this game has been decided by 3 points or less, and in the last 10 years, the teams have combined for at least 58 points a game. Why is that? Well, Hawaii is in a similar situation as the Rebels. The offense is putting up points on the board, but the defense is giving them up in bunches. The Warriors are averaging just under 30 points a game, which puts them in the upper half of FBS teams. The defense, on the other hand, is giving up more than 35 a game, which puts them in the bottom 10%. Offensively, the Warriors have had balance this season with nearly the same number of passing and rushing yards per game. Quarterback Drew Brown has the ability to run, but Hawaii lost top receiver John Ursua to a knee injury just 3 weeks ago. Senior Diosemi St. Just handles the bulk of the carries and is already over 1,000 yards rushing for the season. Defensively, the Warriors are beefy up front. Their key player is linebacker Jelani Tavai, who reminds a lot of people of former Rebel great Tau Lotulelei. Hawaii came into the season with great expectations after going to and winning a bowl game last year, but there's been issues both on and off the field, and they have struggled to gain momentum.
One thing I figured out, that you're always going to have problems. There's always going to be a problem, so just get used to fixing them on the run and making the best decision for your team or the players that you can.
Last season in Honolulu, UNLV won a wild game, forcing and recovering a fumble in the fourth quarter, which led to Evan Pantel's game-winning field goal with just 49 seconds left. If you like offensive fireworks and the potential for a game that will go down on the wire, this is the game to go to.
So Hawai'i obviously poses a lot of problems offensively because Sanchez is a very good running back. They have a quarterback who can get out of the pocket and do a bunch of things.
Yeah.
I would assume defensively the focus this week is just trying to make sure you try and contain them as much as you can.
It is. I mean, we're in the infancy of the game plan right now. We're back at the office right now. The guys are back there watching. I watched a little bit earlier this morning, and we got to figure out how to slow those guys down and create turnovers. I think that's a big thing. I mean, this last game, turnovers were huge. We didn't have one, got one. And if we can continue to win that battle and do our best to eliminate that run game, make them one-dimensional, and give us our best chance.
Well, the atmosphere should be great out at Sam Boyd Stadium. A 3 p.m. kickoff for that one. Time for a short break for us, but when we come back, we're going to introduce you to a father and daughter working inside the Rebel football program who are making an impact while bonding together. Stick and stay.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
When you play team sports, especially at the collegiate level, your team is a second family. But at UNLV, there is a family element in play with one of the coaches and his daughter, who's working right alongside him every day.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's rock, let's go.
Before and during Rebel football games, you'll see and hear UNLV cornerbacks coach David Lockwood coaching his players up. But he's not the only Lockwood doing it on the field.
There we go, there we go, there we go.
Autumn Lockwood is doing the same thing.
Crossover, crossover. Get down, good.
As a strength and conditioning intern, Autumn is involved in everything from the weight room to the playing field.
For the most part, I just help them get bigger, faster, stronger, help hopefully prevent injuries as much as we can, and just get the guys fired up and ready to play.
Autumn is the oldest of 3 kids in the Lockwood family and the only daughter. Football has been a part of her life from the beginning.
Heck, day one, she come home, from the hospital after about a week or so. She was at the football game.
It's really cool just being on this side of it because for all of my life I've been a coach's kid, and so it's really cool to be involved and actually have a part in the program and helping the guys get better and getting to see this guy every day.
Father and daughter live together in Las Vegas. The rest of the family is back east while the youngest son finishes high school. But this isn't just about bonding. Autumn is serious about making the Rebel football players as good as they can be.
See their transformations, be a part of their story, having an impact on them, and then getting to build them up to be men in the real world. That's awesome. Having athletes just kind of develop into their own greatness, and being a part of that is just, you can't ask for anything better than that.
Very proud. Like I said, from day one, she come in and kind of jumped in it, all feet, all hands, and jumped in and just kind of took over, and it's probably a little bit of her mother's quality in her, kind of takes over the situation, but very proud, and great that she's got, an opportunity to do something that she loves to do.
As a young woman surrounded by 18 to 23-year-old men, it begs the question.
Any problems with the players hitting on her?
No, not that I know of. I kind of set that tone back when she was that fan and become older enough. I kind of set that tone back then.
Autumn and David were also together at the University of Arizona, where he was a coach and she was a soccer player. After graduating, Autumn set her focus on a career that integrates all of her loves: fitness, football, and family.
Following my dream, this is what I need to just kind of build my name and build my career, start my career, and I'm getting the experience I need, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Most of the time, the majority of it's the father and the son. The son's always running around, and it makes it a little more special when you have your daughter running around.
For the Lockwoods, football is life. Dad has made a career of it, and daughter is right on his heels. 2 journeys crossing paths at UNLV with an endless road ahead.
Great story and good people. They bring a lot to this football program.
They do. Wonderful family. I've known David for a long, long time, and Autumn's just done a tremendous job. She was a collegiate athlete herself, wanted to break into the business. I asked Sean after the summer, how was she doing, and he couldn't say anything but great things about her. So, and in this day and age, it's great to have a strong young woman to be a part of our program, and she's great at the strength part. She brings a needed component, but also for them to see that modeled and see strength in a woman like that, in a very unique situation, it creates a level of respect you need to have for women and ladies, and realizing that the year of pairs and equals.
We're going to take one final break. We're going to come back with some final thoughts from Coach Sanchez and the Rebel plays of the week. But as we go to break, here's a look at how other Mountain West teams did over the weekend.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show, presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.
Win or loss, the motto is always on to the next week. Big one this week against Hawaii.
It's a great opportunity. I mean, again, we kind of inched our way back into some possibilities, but this is a pivotal game. We've got to go out and handle our business this week, play a tough Hawaii team. They're going to come in. They're going to be fired up. Again, the 9th Island, Hawaii, all that good stuff. We've had 2 battles 2 years in a row since I've been here, and I know the year before I got here it was another, went down to the wire last play of the game. So we got to be ready for a dogfight, but I think our guys are going to be ready to roll.
It's going to be a good one. It's always a fun game to go to, so get out to Sam Boyd Stadium. Kickoff set for 3 o'clock. Thanks for joining us inside the Reb Zone. We hope to see you with us next Sunday as well, and we leave you tonight with the victorious Rebel football plays of the week. Good night.
Do not leave anything in the tank. We're coming on with a freaking victory. Let's go.
One more ride, one more race. We go all out, we don't play. One more ride, one more way. We don't slow down, ain't no breaks. I'ma go off, I'ma ride tonight. It don't matter what we face. I'ma go off, I'ma ride tonight. I'm the master of my fate. I'ma go off, I'ma go off, I'ma go off, I'ma go off. Yeah, I gotta go now. Taking off and I'm riding on the road now. Hit the gas, no brakes, gotta go now. Put my life on the line, yeah, it's on me. Blood rushing through my veins, no IV. Ride switches lanes, you can stop me. You can smell the propane when you pass me. I'ma race you for a pink slip. I got nitrous in my car, so tell me what you thinking. My adrenaline start pumping, so I best stop blinking. One more race, we go all out, we don't play. One more ride, one more way. We don't slow down, ain't no breaks. I'ma go off, I'ma ride tonight. It don't matter what we face.
The Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show was presented by RC Willey. Your home, your way.